What if I told you that in just 90 days, you could become unrecognizable? In today's world, we often find ourselves stuck in the same routines, overwhelmed by distractions, and constantly seeking comfort. But real transformation doesn't come from avoiding discomfort. It comes from embracing it. We spend so much time chasing quick fixes and external validation that we forget true change requires a deeper commitment. This is where Stoicism can radically change your life. The ancient Stoics believed that by focusing on what we can control, mastering our emotions, and choosing discipline over ease, we can evolve into stronger, more resilient individuals. In this video, we're going to explore 7 powerful Stoic principles that will help you break free from your old habits and create lasting change. Whether you're seeking more inner peace, emotional control, or personal growth, these principles will help you become the best version of yourself. Are you ready to start your transformation? Let's dive in. 1. Embrace voluntary discomfort. In today's world, we are conditioned to avoid discomfort at all costs. We strive for ease, convenience, and pleasure. But what if I told you that real transformation begins the moment we step into discomfort? Think about it. How often do we avoid situations that might be uncomfortable? We take the easy way out, opting for the path of least resistance, whether it's choosing comfort food, avoiding difficult conversations, or procrastinating on tasks we know will challenge us. But true growth doesn't come from staying comfortable. It comes from stepping outside our comfort zone and embracing the discomfort that makes us grow stronger. The Stoics understood this fundamental truth. They believed that in order to build mental and emotional resilience, one must embrace voluntary discomfort. This doesn't mean seeking unnecessary pain, but intentionally choosing challenges that force us to grow. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, said, "The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it." For the Stoics, hardship was not something to avoid, but something to embrace as a tool for growth. In our modern world, we're often told to avoid pain. Whether it's through instant gratification, comfort-seeking behaviors, or distractions, we continuously try to numb ourselves from any discomfort. But this pursuit of comfort often keeps us stuck. It prevents us from realizing our true potential. We get complacent, unmotivated, and stagnant. However, discomfort is necessary for growth. Every time we step into something that challenges us, whether it's physical, emotional, or mental, we grow stronger. Discomfort teaches us resilience. When you endure discomfort, you strengthen your ability to handle life's inevitable hardships, and over time, you become unshakable. Stoicism teaches us that discomfort is the training ground for strength. This can come in many forms. For example, you can challenge yourself to take cold showers, train hard at the gym when you're tired, or have difficult conversations you've been avoiding. Every time you face discomfort, you build the inner strength to face even bigger challenges with confidence and clarity. Let's be clear, voluntary discomfort isn't about suffering unnecessarily. It's about taking control of what you can endure. It's about choosing the discomfort that will help you become stronger, more focused, and more resilient in the long run. Instead of waiting for life to force discomfort upon you, you proactively seek it out, knowing that each small discomfort is preparing you for the bigger challenges ahead. The more you expose yourself to discomfort, the less it will have control over you. It becomes a tool, something you use to train your mind, build mental toughness, and reclaim your inner power. By regularly stepping outside of your comfort zone, you build a foundation of strength that will serve you in every area of your life. Now, ask yourself, what discomfort can you embrace today? Start small. Take a cold shower, resist the temptation to hit the snooze button, or push yourself to finish that challenging task. Over time, these small acts of discomfort will reshape you and lead to the transformation you're seeking. 2. Master your emotions. In today's world, emotions often dictate our actions, and for many of us, this results in a life that feels out of control. We find ourselves reacting impulsively to every stressor, whether it's a challenging conversation, an unexpected setback, or a sudden burst of frustration. Our emotions control us, and we allow them to shape our actions, decisions, and even our relationships. But imagine a life where your emotions no longer dictate your responses. What if you could rise above the initial surge of anger, fear, or anxiety and respond with calmness and clarity instead? This is the power that Stoicism teaches. Mastery over your emotions. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about understanding them, controlling them, and not letting them control us. Epictetus, one of the Stoic philosophers, famously said, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." This profound truth reminds us that most of our emotional pain is self-inflicted. We react to situations based on our own perceptions, not necessarily the reality of what's happening. This is where Stoicism comes in. It teaches us to observe our emotions without immediately reacting to them, allowing us to make decisions from a place of clarity rather than from a place of reaction. Mastering your emotions isn't about being cold or indifferent. It's about becoming aware of your emotional triggers and learning to pause before reacting. When we feel anger rising, frustration building, or anxiety creeping in, the Stoic response is to pause. In that moment of stillness, we gain control over our emotional responses. We give ourselves the space to choose how we respond, instead of being driven by the intensity of the moment. This pause is the first step toward emotional mastery. When you stop to breathe, reflect, and assess the situation, you create a space between the stimulus, the event, and the response, your reaction. It's in this space that true growth happens. You may still feel anger or frustration, but instead of letting those emotions dictate your actions, you can choose a more thoughtful, purposeful response. A simple technique to start mastering your emotions is the pause, breathe, and question method. When you feel your emotions escalating, pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what's really happening here? Is this something I can control? By pausing and questioning the situation, you allow your mind to shift from reacting to responding. This shift is crucial for emotional control. But mastery doesn't come overnight. It's a daily practice, and like any skill, it requires consistent effort. Every time you successfully pause and choose your response, you strengthen your ability to control your emotions. Over time, this practice leads to greater emotional resilience and a sense of peace amidst life's challenges. Think about a recent situation where your emotions got the best of you. Perhaps it was an argument with a friend or a stressful moment at work. What would have happened if you had paused, taken a deep breath, and reflected before reacting? How would that have changed the outcome? The power of Stoicism lies in its ability to help you choose your responses, not your emotions. The more you practice this, the more you will feel a deep sense of control over your life. When you master your emotions, you reclaim your power and free yourself from the constant emotional roller coaster that so many people live on. Embrace the challenge of mastering your emotions. Start today by taking a moment to pause, breathe, and question before reacting. Let go of the knee-jerk responses and begin to make choices from a place of strength and clarity. 3. Stop expecting fairness. We've all been there. The feeling that life has handed us an unfair deal. We've all faced moments when we felt betrayed, overlooked, or treated unjustly. Unfairness feels like a heavy weight, one that pulls us down and prevents us from moving forward. Whether it's being passed over for a promotion, overlooked in a group, or facing judgment for something beyond our control, the sting of injustice cuts deep. But here's the hard truth. Expecting fairness in a world that is inherently imperfect will only lead to frustration and disappointment. The Stoics understood this fundamental truth centuries ago. They knew that we cannot control how others treat us, but we can control how we respond to it. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, often reflected on the idea of unfairness in his own life. In his meditations, he wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This means that our response to unfairness is what truly shapes our experience. We can either choose to become consumed by bitterness, anger, and resentment, or we can choose to accept what happens and focus on what we can control. Let's take a moment to reflect. When was the last time you felt mistreated or experienced something you considered unfair? Maybe you felt rejected, misunderstood, or disrespected. How did you respond? Did you let that unfairness shape your thoughts and actions, dragging you further down into frustration? Or did you take a step back and choose a more powerful response, one rooted in understanding and inner peace? The Stoic approach is to accept that life is not always fair and to focus on what we can control, our actions and our attitudes. Stoics didn't expect the world to conform to their desires. Instead, they learned to accept things as they were, knowing that true freedom came not from fighting the world's injustices, but from focusing on how they responded to them. For example, think about a time when someone cut you off in traffic or a colleague took credit for your work. The natural impulse is to feel angry, to feel like you've been wronged. And that feeling is valid, it's human. But the Stoic response isn't to stay stuck in that anger. The Stoic response is to accept that this event is outside your control, and instead of focusing on how unfair it is, shift your energy towards something you can control, like maintaining your peace and composure. Seneca, another prominent Stoic philosopher, said, "It is not that we are given difficult circumstances, it is that we allow our difficulties to overwhelm us." When we stop expecting fairness and start focusing on what we can change, we free ourselves from the emotional burden of unfairness. We choose to rise above it. This doesn't mean we become passive or indifferent to injustice. It means we stop allowing unfair situations to define us, to hold us back. We take responsibility for our own emotional responses and choose to move forward, no matter what life throws our way. So, I challenge you. What if you stopped expecting fairness from the world around you? What if, instead of letting unfair situations dictate your emotions and actions, you chose to focus on what you could control, your own thoughts, reactions, and peace of mind? In doing so, you will find the strength to rise above the world's imperfections and create a life that is defined not by what happens to you, but by how you respond. 4. Focus on what you can control. In a world full of uncertainty, it's easy to feel like we're at the mercy of circumstances, other people, or life's events. We often find ourselves stressing about things beyond our control, how others perceive us, what will happen in the future, or how situations unfold. The more we focus on what we can't control, the more we feel overwhelmed, powerless, and stuck. But the Stoics had a different approach. They believed that the key to inner peace and strength lies in focusing on what we can control and letting go of the rest. This is the Stoic principle of control versus influence, the idea that we must learn to distinguish between what we have the power to change and what we don't. When we focus on what we control, we take back our power, our peace, and our ability to move forward. Think about your life for a moment. How many things do you spend time worrying about that are completely outside of your control? Maybe you worry about the weather, the economy, or someone else's opinion of you. The truth is, none of these things are within your sphere of influence. So why do we let them take up so much mental space? Why do we allow ourselves to be consumed by things we can't change? The Stoics teach us that our thoughts, actions, and reactions are the only things we can truly control. Everything else, other people's behavior, the past, the future, is outside our domain. When we accept this, we free ourselves from unnecessary stress and anxiety. Instead of being ruled by the uncontrollable, we choose to focus on our own responses, decisions, and attitudes. Let's say you're faced with a situation where you have no control over the outcome. For example, maybe you're in a meeting where your boss is dismissive, or you're stuck in traffic with an important appointment ahead. How do you respond? The natural reaction might be frustration, anger, or anxiety, emotions that are not helpful in those situations. But what if, instead of giving in to those emotions, you asked yourself, what can I control right now? Perhaps you can control your reaction, how you choose to respond to the situation. You can take a deep breath and choose to remain calm, or you can use the time stuck in traffic to reflect and practice mindfulness. In each situation, we always have the power to choose how we react. This is the essence of Stoic control, the ability to choose our response, no matter what external circumstances are at play. One powerful Stoic practice is the circle of control. This practice encourages you to identify what falls within your control and what doesn't. For example, you can control how you respond to criticism, but you can't control how others perceive you. You can control how much effort you put into a project, but you can't control the outcome. By identifying the things we can control, we stop wasting energy on things that drain us and instead direct that energy toward what will make a real impact. Take a moment to reflect. What are you spending time worrying about that's beyond your control? Now, what can you do to shift your focus back to what you can control? Perhaps it's your attitude, your actions, or the choices you make moving forward. The more we practice this, the more empowered we become. The Stoic mindset isn't about ignoring the challenges life throws at us, but about focusing on the things that we can change and letting go of the things we can't. When you start focusing on your own actions, thoughts, and responses, you will feel an overwhelming sense of peace and strength. The world may be uncertain, but you have the power to navigate it with clarity and control. 5. Practice daily reflection. How often do you stop and truly reflect on your day? In the rush of modern life, we're constantly moving from one task to the next, from one meeting to another, always in go mode. But the Stoics understood something crucial. Reflection is the key to self-awareness, growth, and inner peace. Without daily reflection, we live on autopilot, reacting to the world around us without fully understanding our own thoughts, emotions, or actions. We get caught up in the hustle, but we forget to ask ourselves, am I living in alignment with my values? Am I growing? Am I becoming the person I want to be? Daily reflection is an essential Stoic practice. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, made it a habit to reflect on his actions and thoughts at the end of each day. He wrote in his meditations, "Don't go on discussing what a good person should be. Just be one." In this, Marcus is reminding us that it's not enough to think about what we should be doing. We must take action, reflect on it, and adjust our course as needed. The act of reflection forces us to slow down and evaluate our thoughts, our decisions, and our behaviors. It allows us to understand where we went wrong, what we could have done differently, and where we excelled. Most importantly, it gives us the opportunity to realign ourselves with our goals and values. For example, at the end of the day, instead of mindlessly scrolling through your phone or watching TV to unwind, take just 5 minutes to reflect. Ask yourself these questions. What went well today? Where did I fall short? Why? How can I do better tomorrow? These simple questions create an opportunity for self-awareness. They allow you to process your day and identify the areas where you can improve. Reflection helps us avoid repeating the same mistakes and reinforces the behaviors we want to cultivate. One of the most powerful aspects of daily reflection is that it allows you to celebrate small wins. We often overlook our progress because we're too focused on the next thing. But taking a moment to acknowledge what went right reminds us that change happens in small steps. Every day is an opportunity for growth. Moreover, reflection helps you detach from the pressure of perfection. You don't have to get everything right all the time. Stoicism teaches us that progress is what matters, not perfection. By reflecting daily, you're constantly improving and evolving bit by bit. It's about building a mindset of continual growth, not about reaching some fixed point of achievement. As you begin to make reflection a daily habit, you'll notice something profound. It gives you clarity and direction. You'll no longer feel like you're stumbling through life without purpose. Instead, you'll feel more aligned with your true self and your goals. So, take a moment to ask yourself, how will you reflect on your day today? Make it a ritual, whether it's journaling, meditating, or simply pausing for 5 minutes before bed. Reflection will be the tool that helps you see your own growth, even when it feels slow. Start today. Practice daily reflection and watch as it transforms your life, one small insight at a time. 6. Let go of attachments. In today's world, we often find ourselves deeply attached to people, possessions, and outcomes. We cling to material things, relationships, and even certain expectations of how our lives should unfold. But what if these attachments are the very things holding us back from true freedom and peace? Stoicism teaches us the power of detachment, not from life or relationships, but from the attachments that bind us to fleeting things. The Stoics understood that attachment to external things, whether it's status, possessions, or other people's opinions, only creates unnecessary suffering. They believed that we must learn to release our emotional dependence on these things in order to find true inner peace. Think about it. How often do we tie our happiness to something outside of ourselves? Maybe it's the car we drive, the house we live in, or how others perceive us. We invest so much emotional energy into these external factors that when they're threatened or lost, we feel devastated. But in reality, these things don't define our worth. The Stoic perspective reminds us that true freedom comes from within. By letting go of our attachment to external circumstances, we free ourselves from the anxiety and fear of losing them. This doesn't mean rejecting all possessions or relationships. It means reframing our mindset to understand that everything is temporary. What matters is how we respond and what we choose to value. Consider the relationships in your life. Often, we depend on others' approval or love to feel validated. But the Stoics believed that our sense of self-worth shouldn't come from others. It should come from within. If we rely on external validation, we become vulnerable to the shifting opinions of others. True strength lies in detaching from the need for external approval and building self-respect and confidence from within. Detachment also applies to our goals and expectations. We often set ourselves up for disappointment when we tie our happiness to achieving a specific outcome. The Stoics taught that we should focus on our actions, not the results. Letting go of rigid expectations allows us to embrace the process of growth, regardless of the outcome. So, what can you let go of today? Is there an object, relationship, or expectation that's weighing you down? Start small. Release the need for perfection, detach from someone's opinion, or let go of a goal that no longer serves you. By practicing detachment, you'll find greater peace, freedom, and clarity. 7. Live with virtue. In a world where success is often measured by external achievements, money, status, popularity, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. We live in a culture that celebrates outward appearances and material wealth, but the Stoics understood that the true measure of a person's life lies not in what they possess, but in how they live with virtue. Virtue, according to Stoicism, is the highest good. It encompasses qualities like wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, the moral compass that guides us through life. Unlike external rewards that come and go, virtue is something that can't be taken from us. It is the foundation of true happiness and fulfillment. Think for a moment. What do you value most? Is it the approval of others, or is it the integrity with which you live your life? Stoicism teaches us that the only thing we can truly control is our character and the decisions we make in alignment with our values. This is the power of living with virtue. Virtue isn't about being perfect. It's about striving each day to be better than we were yesterday. It's about making decisions rooted in wisdom, acting with courage in the face of fear, being fair to others, and practicing self-discipline. Every small act of virtue builds the character that defines us. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." True freedom, according to the Stoics, comes from the ability to live according to virtue, without being swayed by external circumstances or the opinions of others. When we live with virtue, we are not dependent on outside validation. Our worth is inherent in how we choose to act, not in the praise or criticism we receive from others. In today's world, it's easy to get lost in the pursuit of material wealth or fleeting pleasure. But the Stoics believed that true fulfillment comes when we prioritize virtuous living over external rewards. By practicing virtue, we cultivate inner peace, because we know that no matter what happens outside of us, our character remains intact. Ask yourself, what virtues do you want to embody? Which ones can you practice more deeply today? Whether it's being more patient, honest, courageous, or disciplined, living with virtue means staying true to your values, no matter the external pressures. When we live by our virtues, we become unshakable. Start today. Choose to act with virtue in every interaction, every decision. Let your character be the strongest thing about you. And in doing so, you'll find that true peace and happiness come not from what you acquire, but from who you choose to be. To sum up, today we explored 7 powerful Stoic principles that can help you become unrecognizable in just 90 days. From embracing voluntary discomfort to mastering your emotions, letting go of attachments, and living with virtue. These principles are the keys to a profound transformation. By applying Stoic wisdom to your daily life, you can shift your mindset, build inner strength, and create a life aligned with your deepest values. Remember, transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's about small, consistent actions every day. Start with one principle and begin practicing it today. Whether it's embracing discomfort, pausing before reacting, or living more virtuously, every step you take brings you closer to the person you're meant to become. Thank you for watching and for taking the first step toward a powerful transformation. If this video resonated with you, please like, comment, and share it with someone who could benefit from it. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. Together, we'll continue this journey of growth and self-discovery. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, stay true to yourself and keep growing.